So a lot of people have been asking on the stream whether they should come back now. So come back to Classic or start Classic. Maybe they've not even played it. Maybe they're retail boys, or maybe they've just not played WoW for a long time, but they're excited about TBC. So they want to know, should they play now? Should they start getting to 60? Should they, what should they do? Or should they just wait for TBC? Now, I'm hoping a few points that I'm going to cover in this video will hopefully answer this question for you, because it really does come down to you. This is not a blanket statement that's going to apply to everyone. It really depends on what you want to do in TBC, and that will dictate whether you should start now or whether you should wait. Before we get into that, if you don't know, I've started 2 new YouTube channels. So I've started Scottejaye IRL, which is just me posting sort of random stuff when I'm going about my day. So there's only a couple on there. Obviously, I only started these like 2 days ago. And then I've also started SJ Gaming Live, which that's doing... So basically, the plan is now I'm going to be pushing for this for full-time, a few YouTube channels, obviously Twitch streaming. Now, on the SJ Gaming Live, I'll be playing a game of the week for 15 hours. So between 9 and midday GMT on Twitch, obviously, and I'll be playing that game Monday to Friday, so that'll be 15 hours total, and then on Saturday I'll do a review, a 15 hours worth of gameplay review on whether it's a game worth buying. If there's any games you'd like to see me review, please post it on Discord in the content request section, or obviously post it in these comments. I'll be reading all the comments anyway. I've got a list of games that I want to get through. A lot of it's going to be MMOs as well, so I'll be trying Black Desert Online, ESO, Lord of the Rings. The first one I'm doing is Star Wars The Old Republic. So please do show some support, and let's get both of those channels to like 1k subscribers as soon as physically possible. So links to those are in the description, or if you go on my main YouTube page, the Scottejaye YouTube page, you can see them both as featured channels. So as I say, any support, and obviously make sure you sub it. If you're not subbed, why are you not subbed? Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well. I've already mentioned Twitch, obviously you can see on the wall that side. If you want to obviously come over and watch me on Twitch, get involved with the chat, then feel free. Going straight in with point 1. Now this is the big one, like whether you should come back to Classic now ready for TBC is what are you planning on maining. So let's face it, if you're going an Alliance Shaman or a Horde Paladin, don't know why I had to think about that, then it might be worth waiting. It might be worth waiting until those are playable races and then starting. The only reason I would sort of go against that is because you're probably going to want an ult in TBC. Whether it's now or whether it's later down the line, you're going to want an ult. So whatever you plan on your ult being, you might want to start leveling that to 60 now just to get some gold, because this will lead nicely onto the second point. So why will gold be useful? Now, there's 2 options they've got when they release it, and we've spoke about this at length on various different videos. So if it's a progressive server, so as in you carry on with your level 60, the server goes on to TBC, you keep everything that you've got, then you're going to be in a strong place, because you're already going to have a level 60, you're already going to have gold, you probably have bags, profession kits, get all of that ready for your shaman or your paladin. Now, if it's fresh, obviously that's not going to matter. Or if they release both, if there's progressive servers and there's fresh servers and you plan on playing on the fresh server, then no, there's no point coming back now, is there? You might as well just wait, go on the fresh server as a Draenei or a Blood Elf, and fine, then it is worth waiting. But if you plan on playing on maybe with some friends that you already know, we're on Mirage Raceway, by the way. If anyone plays on Mirage Raceway and you're looking for a guild for TBC, again, Discord details are in the description, so come over and say hello. Now, from a progressive perspective, I see that being more likely, because people who have done the rank 14 grind and Scarab Lord, Mount and title and all of that sort of things, all the things where you wouldn't want to lose it, If they made TBC and said, no, sorry, your characters are stuck at level 60, that would be really demoralising to a lot of people. So I can't see it being any other way. They may create the servers so you have to transfer your level 60 onto it, and they may put a gold cap in. But then it's only going to serve so much of a purpose, because you'll be able to just buy all the epics and buy loads of different stuff, spend all your gold, fill your bags up, move your character. Now the auction house is just going to be flooded with stuff, but the gold, at least, like the economy, will be quite tight, because the maximum amount of gold that's on the server is limited. But so point 1 and point 2 is, if you're going to be a Blood Elf or a Draenei, then you might want to wait on how the servers actually launch. So if they're progressive or they're fresh, and depending on what you want to play. Because I personally believe that we're going to get both. I think we're going to get a couple of fresh servers for each region, like 1 PvE, 1 PvP, for in the US, Europe, etc. And then I also think that the rest of the servers will progress on, or you copy across. So my advice really would be to start now anyway, just if you wasn't planning on a fresh server, obviously. If you plan on healing, for example, as a main, this is another reason why it might be worth starting now, because you're going to struggle, not struggle getting healing gear, but obviously you're going to level as DPS, and let's say you want to be a holy paladin at 70, you're going to level all the way as ret or prot. You're not going to level as holy. So at least if you start doing some raiding now, some of the healing gear, particularly, and like the healing weapons, for example, from KT, they're really strong. And if you can get your healing gear in classic and then also get some off-spec sort of DPS gear to level with, when you ding 70 and you respec to holy after your 60 to 70 grind, you've actually got a full set of healing gear that you can bang on straight away to jump straight into dungeons. Whereas if you don't do that, you're probably going to want to, let's say you're ret, we'll go with that, let's say you're leveling as ret, you're probably going to want to take ret items because it's going to make the leveling easier, obviously. There might be the odd item where you take the healing, like, selection from the quest reward, but the majority of times you're probably going to be taking DPS gear that's going to just speed the leveling up. Now, when you ding 70, you might have 4 or 5 healing items, and that's it. And now the healing is going to be quite difficult. Whereas if you do all that now and get all your healing gear from Nax, AQ, not even Nax, just AQ, Blackwing Lair, Zolgarb, just get a reasonable set of healing gear. So as soon as you ding 70, boom, switch it across, you're ready to jump into dungeons or heroics or, doing your attunements. So I also think it depends on what you want to play. If you want to play a DPS, then I don't see that as impactful, as needing to get gear in Classic, other than you get gear in Classic and it's going to make your leveling a little bit easier, a little bit faster, obviously in TBC, but not the end of the world. So, as I say, if you're going to be a DPS, not so important probably to start now. If you're going to be a healer, I would recommend starting now. So another point is how much you like leveling, because classic leveling is obviously, it's awful. Like I hate it personally. It's just slow. And we know how classic was launched, and I've got my suspicions on how TBC is going to be launched. So if it goes into a 2.4.3, which is the final patch of TBC, if it goes into that sort of balancing and sort of system changes, they're obviously going to gate everything in between, sort of raids and stuff like that. But if it was just everything is there, then obviously questing will be easier because they reduce the amount of experience you need up to 60 and also increase the amount of experience you get from quests, and also made all the elite quests. I always use this as an example, such as the ones in Hinterlands where you need a group. You won't need a group anymore. So the actual leveling in general will be a lot easier. So if you're not really up for that grind now to 60, wait until Classic I think will make it easier, obviously, but that is only if we go into a 2.4.3 sort of system balance, class sort of balance, that state, which I think we will. So as I say, if you're not a fan of leveling, you might want to wait. You won't be ahead of the pack, well, you'll be well behind the pack because everyone will be 60 in Hellfire, you'll be 1. But you might just have a more enjoyable experience getting to 60 than you will now. So I think that's something worth bearing in mind. Now, the only other one, which again really comes down to what you're going to play, is what class you're going to main and how easy it is to get in a guild. So I'm going to use the class that I slag off the most on here, obviously, as an example. So let's say you want to be a rogue. If you want to be a rogue, there's going to be limited raid spots for you in TBC. You're going to have 1 per raid max. Maybe some guilds will have 2. But if you think about it now, in Classic, there's loads of rogues. So if you're then sort of behind the pack because you're starting in TBC and then you get your rogue to 70, you're now going to be trying to fight for a raid spot, fight for a spot in that guild against probably 5 or 6 rogues that was with them in Classic. So it could be very beneficial if you want to be a rogue or even a warrior to start playing in Classic and get a guild, get good foundations down in that guild, build relationships, secure your raid spot before TBC even comes out. So I would only really encourage you to do that if you are going to be playing a rogue or a warrior. I don't think any of the others are going to matter. You'll have a fairly easy time getting in guilds as all of the other classes. And obviously, if you're going an Alliance Shaman, you're going to have a very easy time getting in guilds. So, and obviously you can't start now anyway. You'll be waiting to TBC. That goes without saying. So that's about it. I just wanted to put some, again, I like these little filler videos I put in between guides because it's just food for thought. It's, you might be on the fence about knowing whether to start or not now. And the, my points might have just answered some questions. Me personally, out of everything that I've just said, I think starting now in most cases is a good idea because, it's just getting a feel of the game again. And, Classic vanilla as it is at the moment, it isn't the greatest place to be playing. Don't get me wrong. You know, TBC is going to be absolutely amazing, but starting to set yourself up ready for that success in TBC, I think, is really important. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you liked it, again, just some points, my points of view. If there's anything you think I've missed, put it down in the comments. So if there's any reason why you think, let's say I wanted to come back to Classic, you tell me, why should I come back to Classic now? Or why shouldn't I? Why should I wait till TBC? So I'd be interested in some of your comments there. And as I say, make sure you follow my other 2 channels. There's going to be content coming out of my ears on this channel and both the others. Daily posts on Scottejaye IRL. Weekly videos on SJ Gaming Live, so weekly reviews. Obviously, come check me out over on Twitch. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe. I'd really like us to have that push to 5k by Christmas Day. And that's only next week, so that's probably not going to happen. But with your support, it possibly could. So next video that's going to drop on the channel, by the way, I'm going to get back to all the classic items that you want in TBC, and I'm going to burn through them daily, 1 a day coming on the channel. And that's going to start on Friday. So take it easy.